Hey, what's going on, everybody? Podcast land out there. Welcome back to Caffeinated Bible Chatter. It has been a long time, or it feels like a very long time. This is Kyle O'Shields. I'm sitting here with Dylan Brown. We have the sword out. The sword is with us. It is sharp. It's ready to go. I don't know where this episode is going with that sword. But nonetheless, It is still sharp.
That's right.
So, I guess let them know what's going on over there, Dylan.
Yeah, it has been a while. So if you're a listener, if you're a consistent listener and then you jumped on this episode, we have no idea what the title of this thing is going to be at this current moment that I'm speaking. We literally, before as we got on here, and we're raw and real, so I'm just going to keep it 100. I'm going to keep it 100, as the brothers say, Kyle. We literally talked about, mentioned stuff about the election. We literally talked about, I said something about let's lay out our favorite Bibles and then ask each other what we've been studying. And if we get to those three things, then we'll get to them. And if not, then like I said, maybe at this point you've seen what the title of it is, and you're like, okay, well, this intro that Dylan's saying has nothing to do with the rest of the episode. And again, so be that. But things have been good. It has been a long time since I've been on here with Big Kai. I think our last couple episodes were the solo ones. So yeah. It was just my last time recording, just rocking and rolling by myself. But it's good to be back. Things have been busy for both of us. And listeners, you would know the holidays are kind of rolling in. They're not kind of rolling in. They are rolling in. And I don't mean Halloween. It's funny. I was actually getting my haircut the other day, Big Kai. And this is going to be a real informal episode, guys. Real informal. But I was getting my haircut the other day, Big Kai. And I asked this guy that was cutting my hair. I was like, so you got any plans for the holidays coming up? This was the day before Halloween. I was like, you got any plans for the holidays coming up? And when I'm saying like holidays, I'm not thinking about Halloween. Like we do Halloween. For all the fundies out there that that's not something you do, that's fine. But like we do Halloween, and we have fun with it and all that. But like I don't think about that as a holiday. And the guy was like, he was like, yeah, I took off the first because I'm gonna go out into a couple parties. And I was really thinking like, why is he already talking about like the New Year? But then I realized like, no, he thinks I'm talking, when I say holidays, he thinks I'm talking about Halloween tomorrow. I'm like, I wouldn't even think about that. So, but for the rest of us normal people, the real holidays are rolling in. And so things that get busy. And, but nonetheless, here we are. And speaking of holidays, Big Kai, my wife, as we speak, is laying out Christmas stuff. And I can see it. I literally see football on TV and Christmas lights right below the TV on the mantle. So I got the holly jollies going right now.
Yeah, it's Christmas in our house.
Yes.
Yesterday we had the Christmas music jamming in here, bringing in all the boxes.
All from the hymnal, of course, right? The hymnal Christmas music. None of that Michael Bublé or Mariah Carey stuff, surely. No, in all seriousness, I don't care what your take is on music. I'm talking to the listener now. I don't care what your take is on music. If you don't ever listen to Wham's One Christmas Song, then you're not American. And maybe you are one of our overseas listeners, and thanks for being here. But you're not American if you don't listen to that. Is it Last Christmas? Yeah, Last Christmas.
Yeah.
You gave me my heart. And the very next day, you gave it away. Yeah, that was a good one.
That's right.
Yeah, but Big Kyle will say, I didn't get to this. I am sipping on some good coffee. I am back to the espresso roast. Of course, still grinding beans over here, doing our thing. But got that with some whole milk and some honey. Been pretty consistent with that, and it's good. It's a good cup. A nice Hershey chocolate brown color. So just a good ratio.
Nice. Well, yeah. I actually don't have coffee right now. I'm drinking one of these bad boys. Maybe we need to blur this because they don't sponsor us. Hint. Right. I don't know. Your wife got my wife hooked on these things.
Yeah.
And this is all we have now. Our fridge is just Hint.
Yeah, I can't get into them. She does like them though. But she also likes sparkling water. And when I drink sparkling water, there's a sensation in my mouth, but it's not a good one. And so I don't drink them. The water is dancing around, but the taste is not good. And so that's not you don't want something to be like extra strong and you don't like it. That's not a good combo. Like if you like something, like, if you drink a Coke when you're hot and sweaty, you drink a Coke and it burns. That's like a good strong taste. But if it's something you don't like, you don't want it to be strong. And that's how I feel about all of her hippie waters that she has now. So nonetheless, but anyway, Big Cow. So what do you think? Have you voted already, or? And I guess we should clear the air because we're going to probably drop this tomorrow, Big Guy. But we're recording this on a Sunday before the election. So for anybody that's listening to this, maybe you listen to this months down the road and you already see that Kamala won, and this is all for naught, and that's fine too. But me and Big Guy are just having a good conversation. But have you already voted?
Well, I have, and as you can see, I'm wearing the color shirt of the party I support. Nah. We actually are matching. We didn't plan that. Showing our support for our candidate. That's all I'll say.
Yes, and we are both wearing city shirts, which is odd enough.
Yes.
So people can kind of pin down what part of Georgia we're in. I don't live in this city, but if I did live in this city, there's a good chance I would vote the color of the shirt too, being blue.
She would,
but
not out here.
Yeah, not out there. Even though it is the Blue Devils. Yes, the Bremen Blue Devils.
But I have early voted.
Early voting. Well, I haven't.
I was just say, I was going to say something about you. I know you're waiting because you're scared though.
Yeah, I'm enough
get the full count.
That's right. I don't need them adding up extra votes from our grandpas and grandmas that have gone before us, our greats and greats. I don't need those extra votes being tallied as the poll centers like to do. So, I'm going to wait till election day, try to cancel out some of my liberal friends, and see if we can't do that.
Yeah, and they actually say Republicans lose about 3% because people wait for election day, and then something happens, like a flat tire, they don't make it, or I don't know. Anything can happen.
Well, that's probably because liberals. There's one of two reasons. Liberals don't work, good chance, and liberals may ride the bus, so they don't have to worry about a flat tire. And no, that was probably inappropriate. So,
oh boy, this video is getting flagged. I've said that before jokingly. This is real.
Oh no, that was I didn't mean that, but I was just kidding around. Just a good joke. We all know, like in Atlanta at least, most of let's just say people on MARTA, they're probably not in there to vote for a Republican candidate in anything, senator, president, or anything in between. But yeah, so I'm voting on election day. Looking forward to it.
Is it the 5th? Is it?
Yeah,
the 5th is election day, right? So Tuesday.
Yep, that Tuesday. So Big Cow, maybe we'll start off with this. Why would you tell? So, all of our listeners would probably know, or we probably shouldn't assume, but we are deep-rooted Republicans, and sorry, I got a little bit of cough. And more than I would say this about me, more than being a deep-seated Republican, I am just a conservative. And it just so happens that the Republican Party falls in suit with conservative viewpoints, conservative morals. Really, it all comes from the Bible. I'm not a conservative for the sake of being a conservative. I'm a conservative because it aligns more closely with the Bible. Now, doesn't always mean that's the case. I mean, like, I don't think Trump is actually a great moral man. I mean, I know in his life he hadn't been. And so, I'm a conservative more than I am a Republican, but I just happen to be a Republican because they align more with conservative views. So any of our listeners that that didn't know, that you thought maybe because I put honey in my coffee, you thought maybe that I voted.
Yeah, you just threw everybody off after hearing all this whole year how you take your coffee. They're like, what the?
That's right. They're like, this guy, I swore this guy was a Democrat. But no, I'm a conservative, and I'm also conservative from the viewpoint of economics as well. And maybe in this episode, Big Kai, as we kind of heck, we can say whatever. We're super off the grid here, but if I was voting with my wallet, I would still vote Republican. I would still vote in a conservative way. But because I, first and foremost, want to vote with my Bible, again, not that I think the candidate, whoever the Republican candidate is running, each election, Trump being this one, obviously, Trump being the last 3 times that we had to vote for Republican. Not that he is actually a good, godly man. I'm not foolish enough to say that. But again, what he pushes is more in line with what my Bible would be for rather than against it. And obviously, the 2 big things that come to mind. So, like, we know everybody knows people that probably go to our churches or have gone to our churches that are Christians or Bible believers, but yet they, for some reason, and I say for some reason because I can't put my finger on why that would be, but for some reason they still vote liberally. Why do you think that is, Big Cow?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know how you can be a Christian. And seriously, I know people say that, but like, I really don't know how you can be a Christian and be involved in the ministry in church and you can vote that way. It literally doesn't make sense.
Well, this is what I'll say, and I don't say this to be ugly. I mean, we got a lot of good people out there that know me and Kyle, and some of you don't, and many of you do, and that we're, I think pretty kind fellas. Kyle gets a little edgy sometimes, but pretty kind for the most part. But this is what I really think. I think in the circle of Christian, quote unquote Christian Democrats. Why are they Christian? How are they Christian, and how do they claim to be pro-Democrat or pro-liberal? Okay, I think it really mostly, now there's probably outliers, but mostly falls into 2 camps. The first camp are people that are just actually not that grounded in their faith. Now, that sounds harsh because, like, if you're out there and you're a liberal and you're also a Christian, you're like, man, this guy's so arrogant. He used to say something like that. But again, liberalism is very is very opposed to biblical values, very opposed. And the two major ones, like if someone were to say, Dylan, why do you think it's wrong for a Christian to vote Democrat? Okay, well, again, because they're liberal. That's why. That's the short answer. But the 2 main things being they're for abortion. Okay, pretty obvious, and everybody that would ever tune into this episode would know that would come up eventually when it comes to the election and Christians. Okay, but abortion, that for sure. And then also their stance and view on on Israel. So I believe that abortion is murder. I believe a soul is a soul at conception. And Cal, can you hear that crying?
I mean, it's a little bit.
Very faint.
I mean, you can still hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay. We got the croup going on in my house. So it's, hey, Tori Lynn, you mind tending to that one? I don't know if she is. She's just gone missing at the most unopportune time. All right. We'll see.
We got the croup going on over here too.
It's bad. It's awful. And that's where my little calls from. It's not a full-blown croup. It's awful. But the whole thing about abortion, but then also we're called as believers in the church age to still be for Israel. There's actually good references that talk about praying for Israel. We still know that Israel is God's chosen people, and we still know that God's not done with Israel. So I don't know. That's why I say that someone that's not grounded in their faith could be a Christian and vote, as a Democrat or vote liberally. Okay, because you may not even know, and with all due respect, Talladega Nights said, once you say with all due respect, you can say anything after that. But I really sincerely mean that. With all due respect, if you don't realize all the implications with Israel that are coming down the pipe, then it wouldn't be a big deal for you to have a candidate that is pro-Israel. And I'll remind you, just as a side note, that Trump actually is the one that moved the capital of Israel back to Jerusalem during his 4-year term. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, because Jesus Christ, I mean, he's going to rule. By the way, he didn't need Trump to do that. He'd have found other ways. I'm just saying it's a cool thing. But Jesus Christ is going to rule and reign from Jerusalem on a literal throne. And so it's not only going to be the capital of Israel, it's going to be the centerpiece of the world. This earth that we actually see, you'll still be around. We'll come back with Jesus Christ on the second advent, and he'll be ruling and reigning there. And so for those two reasons, the abortion thing, which we just talked about all the time, and then conservatives are typically more pro-Israel. Those are two big enough reasons to make me every single time vote Republican. Now, there's been some crappy Republicans out there. I actually don't think Trump is one of those crappy ones. And so if that offends you, I'm sorry, but I don't think he is. But there has been some crappy ones. I mean, Big Cal, I don't know if you remember, God bless him. He's in eternity now, hopefully with the Lord. But when John McCain, when we were probably in high school, John McCain was running as the Republican candidate. He won the primaries. And if he was a Republican, then a true Republican, then I'm 6'6", 260, all muscle. And maybe for those that don't know me, that's not me. And so there's been some bad ones. But nonetheless, those are two reasons. So I've gone in a roundabout way of saying all this, but there's two camps, I think. This is what I think, Vika. There's two camps of people that are in the Christian circle. I'm talking about legitimate Christians. I'm not talking about, they're Catholic and yet claiming Christianity and stuff like that. I'm talking about actually born again believers. They're just ignorant in their faith. They're just not grounded. They don't know what they believe and why they believe it. Okay. And then on the other end, and again, I'm not trying to be rough in saying this. I'm just being honest. If you're not in that camp and you vote Democrat, consistently vote liberal, then the reason, if you're not in that first camp of just not being grounded in your faith, I say this just honest, I know how to. It's probably because you're a minority. And so it's not a secret that minorities typically vote Democrat. And how the Democratic Party has done this, I don't know, but they have sold this bill of goods that Republicans are racists, okay? And that, I mean, you'll hear that about Trump. I mean, it's hard to, especially when he was president. When he was president, my gosh, he was just, the biggest racist you've ever seen. But the Democratic Party has done a great job with selling a bill of goods to minorities, and I'm talking Hispanic, Black, any minority. They've done a great job of selling that they're for them, and the Republican Party is not. And so that's why I think that there can be, unfortunately, Christians that are truly born again, but they vote liberally. They vote for the Democratic Party, and it's a shame because, for the short term, it stinking affects my wallet. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
that kind of irritates me.
That's what I was going to say. If anybody can say they're better now than they were 4 years ago, they're lying. Mm-hmm. They're lying.
Yeah.
But since you were talking about Israel, just so we can have the sword out a little bit here.
Yeah, come on.
A Bible podcast.
That's right.
I'm going to read Genesis 12:2 and 3,
yep.
Just because he was just talking about Israel. It says, "And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing." And then verse 3, "And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed." Now, that's literal, right? And I don't know if you've seen some of the things that have gone on the past 4 years with this this party that's running things. It ain't good toward Israel, right? Where they don't support Israel. That's 100% a fact. They don't care about Israel,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
But somebody like
Yeah.
somebody like Trump in there. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, the guy. I was telling this to somebody the other day. Stuff he says, stuff he tweets or puts on social media. Yeah, why are you doing that? I think that all the time. Like, just stop talking. But if you're looking at everything as far as your wallet being better off 4 years ago, around the globe, right, with other countries, I mean, you can't ask for a better candidate than that one.
Right. Yeah, and maybe I should. You gave a reference on the Israel thing, and I'll give a reference on the whole abortion thing, because most people that are in the Christian circle that try to defend abortion, man, like if there's ever been a thin leg to stand on, it's being in that camp. But the people do it. But Jeremiah chapter 1 is where a lot of people go. And that's where I'm going to go. Jeremiah chapter 1. It's interesting on this whole thing of God viewing things through the lens of conception rather than actual birth. In Jeremiah 1:5 is God talking to Jeremiah, and he says, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." And so, obviously God had a plan for Jeremiah's life before he actually came out of the womb. Now, that would mean if they're not, I'm just going to break this down exegetically. If they haven't come out of the womb yet, then that means they're in the womb. And so, you do that, do with that what you will. And I would also point out, it's always been interesting to me how when Mary found out she was going to have Jesus, and she goes to her cousin, and she says, she lets Elizabeth know, and John the Baptist is literally further along, of course, in the womb of Elizabeth, and he leaps for joy. I think is what the reference says, something like that, but actually leaps inside of her womb. And I mean, babies inside of womb have heartbeats. So I mean, there's a lot to say about that, but those are just a couple Bible references to say to not defend. Like again, so that's why I say, like, if you're a Christian out there and you're like, yeah, but I got a lot of reasons why I'm for abortion. With all due respect, what is Talladega? What is Will Ferrell's Ricky Bobby? As Ricky Bobby says, with all due respect. Okay, with all due respect, please stop saying that.
Yeah.
You like, especially on Facebook and social media, when you get on there and you're like talking about, how you got all these reasons to be okay with abortion, and yet you're also posting Bible verses or talking about being a Christian. It's goofy, so don't do that. And you don't have a good leg to stand on.
The craziest thing to me about that, since we're talking about abortion, is people say nobody's doing that after a certain amount of time or whatever. They're all doing it within the first 6 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
You can literally call whatever abortion clinic you want and tell them, hey, I'm 30 weeks pregnant and I just found out I can't keep this baby. And they'll give you the information you need, the plan you need to go get an abortion. You're at the end, and you can still do that. It blows my mind.
That's crazy.
And the fact that the people in office now want to keep it that way or okay with that is insane.
Yeah, it really is. So I'll say it like this. I've had good friends, good people have literally told me, that Trump actually doesn't believe all the conservative things he claims to believe. Like, I've had them say that multiple times. And my answer to that every time is, I don't care. I don't care if Trump, like I'm voting for Trump, obviously. I don't care if Trump or any other Republican candidate that I would ever vote for, I don't care if they go to sleep at night or if they can't go to sleep at night and they lay on their bed and on their pillow. I prefer them not do this, but it's not going to make me lose sleep. If they lay on their bed at night, looking up at their ceiling, pouring sweat because they know they've been living a lie, I don't care. Like if they're pushing one thing, but they deep down have different convictions, I don't care. I only care that they act upon the things that I want, and that is conservative values that come from the Bible, or they're at least more closely connected with the Bible. So if you hadn't voted out there, just vote biblically.
Be wise.
And if you don't vote biblically, man, I would keep that a secret if you're a Christian. Okay, I'm just being honest.
Maybe don't vote.
Yeah, don't vote. Yeah, we'd rather you not vote. Don't do that. That'd help us out. So, like I said, we said this was going to be very informal. We're just jumping back on here. But I thought about closing this shorter episode down like this, Big Guy. Do you have your favorite Bibles around you?
No. I mean, I can grab other ones. I got one with me. I mean, this is a pretty favorite, I guess.
Okay. This is what we can do. I'm looking back at my thing now. Let's maybe throw out our favorite 3 or 4 Bibles.
All right.
It could be 5. It could be 2. It could be 3. It could be somewhere, in the middle. Let's throw them out. Okay.
All right.
So if you want to go grab yours, I'm going to go ahead and I'll start the intro with mine. Okay. I will do that. So you go ahead and make your way, Big Cat. Oh, I got something disconnect. Okay. So to my listeners out there, as Kyle goes and grabs his Bible again, very, very informal, as you can tell. The first Bible, and I don't know if you've ever seen these Bible challenges, but they're always good. And if you're just listening to this, then you're not going to see this on video. That's fine. Just you can still listen. Okay. But this first Bible would be the Bible that has all of the wear and tear on it, if you will. It's sort of like Spurgeon once said. He said something that I can't think of at the moment that I was going to try to say, but something about a dusty Bible is a good thing. Okay. And so my Big Kai, you may go here first too, or you may save this for later, whatever. But my first one, which I don't use a lot anymore, Big Kai. It is the old school. It's the old school Bearing Precious Seed wide margin. Yes. Now, for those on the video side of things, you can see it's a nice Bible. Okay, you can see it's kind of getting wore out, or it is wore out. But it's wide margin, and the old school Bearing Precious Seeds. I've got some newer ones, and the margins are still good, but they're not as big. But the margins on these bad boys were just massive. I mean, just humongous. Okay, so and it's like a calf skin type leather. So that's my first one, Big Kai. We'll alternate and let you go.
Yeah, I'll throw out the same one as my favorite. Really, just I carry this one everywhere, just because it's the perfect size. It's not massive, and I actually threw 3 ribbons in there just because I like more ribbons and for them to be longer. Yes. Now, but the thing I really like about this one is, like he said, how big it is, but there's no cross references or anything, so you kind of just you do your own, right? I mean, I like to write my own. I mean, it's cool to have them in there, I guess, but I like the blank, nothing there, no notes. You do your own cross-referencing and write your own references in there. But the Bearing Precious Seed is definitely my daily carry.
And maybe we'll do this for listeners. Maybe you don't care nothing about this and you can just tune out from this part of the episode. I mean, we want you to listen. But if you're into, buying new Bibles and stuff like that, they still sell those. Again, they're a little different now. I mean, they're practically the same, but the margins have slimmed up just a little bit, but they're still good. But you can get that at bpsmilford.org, I think, is what it is.
Yeah.
BPS Milford.
You'll never find another Bible with that much room in the gutter there.
That's right. It is huge.
I mean,
yeah, it's huge. Okay. All right. All right. So next, this has kind of been this is probably the oldest Bible. It's actually older than my Bearing Precious Seed because I've had this one for a long time. And it's got a lot of notes in it too. And this guy would be this is what I've been carrying over the last year, really, 6 months. And it's getting wore out. And I'm actually thinking about getting a hand-sized version as we speak. I've told Tori that literally 2 times today. But this would be a guy that's no stranger. His name is no stranger to this podcast. And this is a Ruckman Reference Bible. Put it in the screen there for our YouTube side of things. A Ruckman Reference Bible. He's a kind, gentle, spirited man. That he's passed away now. But he's not actually that kind and meek and all that. But he's got a lot of great notes. And I would say this in all honesty. If you want to grow in your knowledge of the Word of God, then I would highly suggest one of these. And you can get these, excuse me, you can get these at kjv1611.org. And it's got a lot of notes, and it's got a lot of cross references. Let me try to find, it's got like header. It's kind of like for any of you out there that maybe like a Schofield, it's kind of laid out similarly to that. But like it's kind of crappy view here if you're on YouTube. But you can see there's notes at the bottom, some cross references in the middle. But yeah, I'm actually thinking about getting. I got Tori one, but it's made me sick ever since I got her one. But I'm thinking about getting the blue hand size.
Yeah,
version of that.
Yeah, I do. That's what Carly's got. I do like the hand size one.
Yeah, they're a little thick, but like they're good handy size. So I like them. So I'm thinking about getting
What's
one.
your name a favorite book by old Ruckman?
A favorite book by Ruckman. Torlin, my wife is walking by, nostriling me with her nostrils flared out. Okay, I thought she was going to say something. So let me look back on my bookshelf here for my listeners. Yeah, this is kind of weird. This is actually really weird. I would say my favorite book by him. I've read quite a few, and he's got a lot of good ones. I've read his commentaries and stuff too. But I actually like his autobiography, believe it or not, The Full Cup.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I like that is because really with any autobiography or just a biography in general, it shows you the highs and lows of someone's life in ministry, if you're talking about like a Christian one. And they're, I don't know, it kind of fires me up at the end of it. I'm like, let's go charge hell with a water pistol. But besides the autobiography, let me see. What would I say? Probably Why I'm Not a Calvinist. I would say he's up there. I like his Why I'm Not a Calvinist. It's not the best work on Calvinism. Lawrence Vance has that, but I like Ruckman's on that. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And this is a side note, Big Cat. I didn't say this earlier, but I guess those two people that are Democrats that are also Christian, technically, I guess a replacement, someone that believes in replacement theology could be a Democrat because that whole second point of being pro-Israel, they could care less of because they've replaced Israel.
Yeah. There's They're
not
worried about Israel.
So, but that would still fit. They're not grounded because if you believe in replacement theology, if you're Calvinistic, Reformed, you're not grounded. So
I actually got a Reformed theology book for free in the mail.
Who's
a
it
while
by?
ago. So they're what's his name? God, what is his name? Shoot, I forgot who's on.
R.C. Sproul.
That's him.
Yeah, he died now. He's dead now, right? He's been dead a few years. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, got a free book from him.
You know what? R.C. Sproul is not a Calvinist anymore.
No,
he got. I'm sure I'm assuming with the Lord. And he, when he got all knowledge and glory at the throne of God, he realized real quickly that God is a whosoever will kind of God.
Yep. That's right.
So Big Cal, what you got? What's number 2? What's your second favorite Bible?
I'll throw out this First Mention Study Bible.
Okay. I like it.
This is by Kevin Mann. It's actually really nice. Whatever leather he uses, I don't know. He uses Church Bible Publishers, I think. To do them.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This one's cool because it's in the same kind of thing as that Ruckman where you got the 2 columns, but there's nothing actually on the pages. Like it's just the verses. Until you get to the very end, he's got them like titled the nuggets. So like if you're reading the book of Philemon. You get to the end, it's nuggets in Philemon. So
Yeah.
and now his is going to be mostly like number things and cool little things in the Bible with numbers. But he's got some cool notes, and even some of his notes in here actually reference some of Ruckman's books. So he's a Ruckman guy too. But yeah, his name's Kevin Mann. If you want to check him out, he's got other cool books too. KevinMannBooks.com, I think, is his website. But yeah, cool Bible.
Yeah, the old first mention. I like it. Man. Okay. So I'm gonna say 2 with the last one here, Big Kai. I'm gonna say 2. Am I still, when I'm back here, am I still coming through okay on the audio?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna say 2. Both of these are very nostalgic Bibles to me. And I probably said that word in the wrong context, but I'm nostalgic about these Bibles. They mean a lot to me for certain reasons. So, but I also like the layouts of these Bibles. So the first one is a Skylar, and it's a Skylar wide margin.
So I said that word wrong for the longest time.
Sure.
I always said Schuler. Yeah.
Yeah, and you see it's got red art gilding. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's got, if you're just listening, it's got red art gilding. But it's a wide margin. It's a wide margin. And it's got cross references. Excuse me, cross references at the bottom. And this Bible is, I like the layout. Even if it had no attachment to it, I would still like it a lot. It's a good Bible. It's got a lot of pages in the back for notes and stuff like that. But I got this Bible when I got ordained. When I was ordained, I don't know how long ago that was now. Like coming on 3 years, I think 3 years, something like that. So that would be one. Like I said, I like the layout and stuff too. But another one, and this would be, I'd say, one of the better study Bibles you can get still. They don't make them quite the same anymore, but you can still find this the old school layout that I have here. But that's the Thompson Chain Reference Bible. And so this one's kind of worn. You can see. But this one is the first Bible, Big Kai, that I ever preached out of. So this is a Bible that I got when I started getting more serious about the Word of God. And all I knew is that I wanted to get a Bible that didn't have a lot of necessarily commentary, but I just wanted to compare Scripture with Scripture and kind of establish things on my own. It's kind of the wording I would have used back then. And so I went and got this Bible. And it's good. It's good. Now, like, if I were to give a con to this Bible, it'll randomly have, the old Thompson Chain will randomly have references beside a verse, and it'll tell you what the Revised Version says there. And I'm like, I don't care what the Revised Version says. I just normally wipe that out just to make it a little bit more godly. But it's good. So
false friends in there.
Yeah, that's right. But you can see it's got like chain references in the back. It's got a bunch, and there's kind of some room to write in these two. So, but yeah, I would say those two are tied for third. But yeah, I would say those Bibles. I do got the Kevin Mann, the first mention that you mentioned, Big Kyle, I like those two. But I would say those are probably the favorite if I were to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the other two I brought out, you already said it. I don't know how to get my camera in here. The Ruckman, obviously, you got to have a Ruckman. If you ain't got a Ruckman, go online right now.
That's right. If you ain't got a Ruckman, you need to get off the milk.
Yes. Yeah. And then I guess the last one here would be this, the Common Man Reference Bible.
Yeah,
he's got good notes in here. Now I will say, I got the wide margin in this Common Man, and it is massive. This is not a Bible you're going to take out to the church, to the pulpit, whatever you're doing. I mean,
You definitely
you
ain't
got
go
this on
soul
the
winning with that bad boy.
yeah, heck no. If you nobody's walking up to you seeing this thing in your hand.
That's right.
If you got this on the pulpit, there's no room for a coffee beside it. This thing's massive. But it is nice you can set it out on a table at home to do some studying. He's got some good notes, good cross references in here. And I will say, if you don't have a wide margin, are you really studying?
Good night. It's interesting, Big Kyle. Of course, I got so I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got like 4 or 5 wide margins. 3 of them are bare and precious seed, like different versions, like oldest to kind of middle, and then newest ones. But it's weird. I've kind of gotten to this thing where I've been reading out of a non-wide margin, like on my daily my daily Bible reading, and I've been taking notes in a notebook.
Really?
I feel a little carnal doing it. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm just seeing where it takes me. I don't know. I'm seeing where it takes me. Like I'm gonna have like a year's worth of Bible reading in one notebook, and then maybe try it again and see what happens.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe sell 2 or 3 commentaries one day. My kids.
There you go. Oh man, I do like a good old wide margin though.
Yeah. So you can get those though. The Bear and Precious Seed, again. If you're a Bible fanatic out there, you can get the Bear and Precious Seed at bpsmilford.org. You can get the Ruckmans at kjv1611.org. You can get a Thompson chain at really the best place to go would just be like Church Bible Publishers. They have Thompson chains. You can get that Kevin Mann one at what did you say that one was?
It's just his name, kevinmannbooks.com.
That's a cool one. And then you can get the best place to get that last one that Kyle mentioned is they have them on Church Bible Publishers too, but they're a little bit upcharged. But you can get them at purewordsofTruth.org or .com. And you can get them. And that Common Man one too, Big Cat, actually makes it in a hand size now.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, so it's pretty cool. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Big Cat's the weirdest episode we've ever done, but I'm okay with it. Just getting back rolling, breaking the ice. Tori's walking by again, and she's rolling her eyes. So,
all right,
God bless you.
We can close this out with your favorite verse.
My favorite verse. I'll tell you
one you've been stuck on. I don't know.
I'll tell you a verse I've been chewing on. Has been not a complicated verse, just a kind of a missional verse. Because the whole thing about a life verse, mine changes all the time. Literally changes all the time. But I've been chewing on and kind of just thinking through Acts 20:24, where Paul says, "But none of these things move me, neither count I my life dear unto myself, so that I might finish my course with joy and in the ministry which I have received of the Lord Jesus to testify the gospel of the grace of God." And I think the key phrase there, and interesting that I've been kind of chewing on, is the whole thing of, for one, nothing's moving him off the mission. He's been given a ministry by Jesus Christ directly, and we all have. We've all been given a ministry directly by Jesus Christ. Even if it's nothing else right now for someone's life other than to be a minister of reconciliation. Everyone that's saved has that ministry given to them by Christ. But he says nothing moves them off that. And then after that comma, he says, "Neither count I my life dear unto myself." And I think the problem with me, and I think the problem with most Christians, especially in Laodicea, is we hold our life too dear. And I don't necessarily just mean like surviving, because like nobody wants to die, but just meaning in the sense of, okay, like for instance, the Bible continuously tells us to die to our flesh, to die to ourselves. Well, the reason we don't do that is because we care too much about ourselves, our comforts. We care too much about what makes us feel good, all those things, and that's holding our life too dear. Prioritizing my life above Christ being my life. And if Christ is my life and I prioritize it that way, like Paul did, rather than me holding dear into my life, then it'll change the decisions I make, pursuits I have on a consistent basis. So I've been chewing on that. Been digging that.
Nice.
How about you?
I like
big
it.
guy?
Yeah, two verses I've read these on here before or whatever. I feel like I'm always stuck on these verses. Is Proverbs 11:30 is the first one. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise. Right? I mean, the fruit of the righteous. If you're a Christian, right? If you're saved, we should be producing fruit, right? And we've talked about this before, but we can produce good fruit and evil fruit, right? But as a Christian, as a saved person, man, we gotta produce that good fruit that's gonna be a tree of life, right? And we know a tree of life offers eternal life, right? So we're talking about soul winning here, right? And the end of this, he that winneth souls is wise, right? So that's wisdom in God's eyes, right? Going out, producing fruit, and being a soul winner. And the other verse I always put with Proverbs 11:30 is that Colossians 4:5, right? It says, "Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time." Right. So that Proverbs 11:30, producing fruit, being a soul winner, and then Colossians 4:5, walking in wisdom. Right. We got to go to them. We can't just come to church on Sunday and Wednesday, sitting in those four walls, thinking we're doing something for ministry. Right. We got to walk toward them in wisdom. Right. What's wisdom? Job tells us, I think 28:28, something like that. Wisdom is the fear of the Lord. Right.
Yeah.
So walking in the fear of the Lord toward them that are without, lost people, I'm being a soul winner. And then right there at the end of Colossians 4:5, redeeming the time, right? For maybe I got saved a while ago and I hadn't really been doing anything, right? I've just been coming to church on Sunday. That's the only time I'm in my Bible, not going out being a soul winner at all, right? Not reproducing anyone. Well, if I start doing that now, as that says, redeeming the time, maybe I can buy back some time I've wasted, right? So those are always two key verses for me. Is I gotta get out there, right? I gotta be a tree of life to the lost.
Yeah, well, I think it's that phrase has always stuck out to me in Colossians 4:5, where he says, "Walking toward," like you said, toward them, and because I think it's easy to be passive in our evangelism. Pray for open doors, as the text, but the verses before that verse, it tells us to pray for open doors. But it's easy just to pray for open doors and do nothing else. But he says to walk toward them that are without. And so I've heard it put like this. One guy said before, he asked the question, what is your personal strategy for accomplishing the Great Commission? And I think if most Christians were to be asked that, they would just kind of look around like confused. Like, what do you mean by that? And the reason they'd even be confused by that question is because they don't even view the Great Commission through the lens of strategy. Now, don't misunderstand that of course, we know it's not our doing. It's not what we can manufacture in the flesh. It's the Lord is the one who saves. The Lord is the one who convicts, all those things. But nonetheless, we are called to preach the gospel, and we can get so far on the other side of the coin where we're like, it's all the Lord. And it is. But we're still called to go, and we're still called to preach, and we're still called to do those things. We can get so far on the other side where we're like, well, God just hadn't opened me any doors. Yeah. And that's okay if you're saying that, like, maybe for a few months. But like, the problem is people are saying that after 10 years. And I just have a hard time believing God has not desired to use you or I to lead someone to Christ in a 10-year window. That's bullcrap. Yeah. That weird expression to you. That's bullcrap. And so it's just our apathy. And so I like that. What's your strategy for accomplishing the Great Commission? And so when we're to walk toward them would mean there's an aim, and it means, hey, it may be mine is to do a Bible study, and I'm trying to reap in as many people as I can to lead them to Christ through the Bible study. Maybe it's a certain hobby or a certain sport that you do intentionally to try to build relationships for the sake, not just accidental conversations, but you are building relationships for the direct purpose to say, man, I'm wanting to get to the gospel with them. Whatever it is, there's 1,000 different things you could say right there, but walking toward them. So always stood out to me. So I like it, Big Cow. It's a good one. So,
all right. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
One of the verses that's always my favorite, real quick, because Oliver mentioned this the other day. He was doing Wednesday night. And Brian Clark is actually, I think it was in his Soul Winner book. He actually pointed this out, I guess. But Joshua 5, I think it's verse 14. I don't have it pulled up. I'll butcher this verse. But the angel of the Lord appears. This Jericho. The walls came tumbling down, all that. Joshua sees the angel of the Lord standing there. And what does he say? He's got his sword out. He says, "Hey, are you on our side or are you on the enemy side?" He asks him that, and the angel of the Lord says, "No, I'm not on either of your side." Right. So he says that verse is we got to get on the Lord's side. Right. He's not on our side. There's 3 sides. Right. The enemy side, your side, and then the Lord's side. Right.
That's right.
That's the verse that I was thinking of when talking about going toward them, right? We gotta go toward we gotta get in this book, right? It ain't gonna open itself.
Yep, that's right.
But all right, well, that was kind of a wild episode.
Yeah, well, all over the place, but that's okay. Sometimes it's good. I heard some people say that Theo Vaughn, not that I would suggest you listen to his podcast, but I've heard that people say that what they like about Theo Vaughn is that it seems like they're just having a normal conversation. And so I think even if it was crappy, I think that's what we had, Big Cow, was just a conversation.
Yeah.
Like we were sitting around, a cup of coffee in the living room.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Yep. People will listen to the first 10 minutes about the president.
That's right. Till they hear politics come up and they're like, no, I'm out. So, if you made it to the end, we appreciate you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for listening. This is the first one in a while, but I don't know what our next topic's going to be. I don't even know what we're going to title this one, but
yes,
we'll figure all this out and we'll catch you on the next one. Stay tuned.
Yes.